This is the story of Chris. It's a story that starts in a small, cramped apartment where the walls were thin and the dreams were big. Chris grew up watching his mom work 2, sometimes 3 jobs, just to keep food on the table. He saw the weariness in her eyes, the lines of worry etched on her face, but he also saw an incredible strength, a refusal to give up. That spirit, that unwavering fire, was the greatest inheritance she could ever give him. Even as a young boy, Chris knew he had to do something. He wasn't just a kid. He was his mom's partner in this fight for a better life. While other kids were playing video games, Chris was collecting cans, mowing lawns, and shoveling snow. Every dollar he earned was a small victory, a tiny chip off the mountain of their struggles. He'd hand the crumpled bills to his mom, and the proud, tearful smile she gave him in return was worth more than any treasure. School was his sanctuary and his battlefield. He knew that education was the one true key that could unlock a different future. He'd stay up late, long after his mom had fallen asleep exhausted, studying by the dim light of a street lamp that shone through his window. He devoured books from the local library, seeing each page as a step away from the world he knew and a step toward the world he wanted to build. There were times he was so tired he could barely keep his eyes open, but then he'd think of his mom, and a fresh wave of determination would wash over him. Of course it wasn't easy. There were bullies who made fun of his worn-out shoes and hand-me-down clothes. There were teachers who sometimes overlooked the quiet boy in the back. There were moments of deep, crushing doubt, moments when he wondered if all his effort was just a waste. In those dark times, he'd remember his mom's simple words. "Just keep going, my boy, one foot in front of the other. That's all it takes." So he did. He kept going. He learned to turn the taunts into fuel and the doubts into motivation. High school was a turning point. Chris excelled. He wasn't just getting by, he was thriving. He joined the debate team to sharpen his mind and his voice. He took on part-time jobs, not just for the money, but for the experience. He worked at a local diner, washing dishes and bussing tables. It was humbling work, but he learned the value of $1 and the dignity of hard labor. He saw people from all walks of life and learned to treat everyone with respect, a lesson his mom had taught him since day one. His hard work paid off. Scholarships started rolling in. The day he received his acceptance letter to a top university with a full scholarship was a day of pure joy. He and his mom held each other and cried, not tears of sorrow, but tears of triumph. It was a victory for both of them. It was proof that their sacrifices, their shared dream, was finally within reach. College was a whole new world. For the first time, Chris was surrounded by people who didn't know his past. He could have reinvented himself, but he chose not to. He was proud of where he came from because it had made him who he was: resilient, empathetic, and relentlessly driven. He studied business, soaking up every piece of knowledge he could. He saw the world of finance not as a way to get rich, but as a tool to create security, to build a foundation so strong that no storm could ever shake it. He still worked. He tutored other students, worked in the campus library, and took on internships during the summer. Every penny he saved was for one single purpose. He had a picture in his mind, a vision that had been with him since he was a little boy, handing his mom a set of keys. Not keys to a rented apartment, but keys to her own home. A place with a small garden where she could plant flowers. A kitchen with a big window that let the sunshine in. A place where she would never have to worry about the rent being late again. After graduation, Chris landed a good job at a financial firm. The hours were long and the pressure was immense, but he was used to pressure. He saw every challenge as just another version of the ones he'd faced his whole life. He lived frugally, saving aggressively, his goal always at the forefront of his mind. While his colleagues were buying flashy cars and expensive clothes, Chris was quietly building his mother's future. Years passed, 5 to be exact. It felt like a lifetime and a blink of an eye all at once. Then, the day came. He had found it. A small, charming house in a quiet neighborhood, with a beautiful oak tree in the front yard. It had a garden, a sunny kitchen, and a feeling of peace. It was perfect. He drove his mom to the house under the pretense of just looking at a neighborhood he liked. He walked her up the pathway, her arm linked in his. She admired the flowers in the window boxes. "Oh, this is a lovely place. Chris, someone takes good care of it." He stopped at the front door, his heart pounding in his chest. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. He opened it, revealing a single, shiny key on a simple ring. He looked at his mom, his eyes filled with all the love and gratitude he could never fully express in words. "Mom," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "it's yours. You're home." The look on her face was something he would cherish for the rest of his life. A mix of shock, disbelief, and overwhelming joy. The tears streamed down her cheeks as she took the key from his hand. She looked from the key to the house, and then back to her son, the boy who had carried her burdens as his own. The man who had turned their struggles into a beautiful story of triumph. They walked through the front door together. This wasn't just a house. It was a monument to her sacrifice and his love. It was the final chapter of a long, hard journey and the first chapter of a peaceful, secure new life. As the sun streamed through the large kitchen window, just like he had always imagined, Chris knew that every single moment of struggle had been worth it. Because true wealth isn't about the money you have in the bank. It's about the ability to give the people you love a place to finally call home. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that celebrates the strength of the human spirit. We'll see you in the next one.